Thank you, KLF, for providing such a platform for poetry. It's really a good initiative, especially in this alienating pandemic situation. I'll start by reading one of my Marathi poems, followed by its English translation. The title of the poem is ऐन मध्यरात्री. ऐन मध्यरात्री अचानक दिवे गेल्यावर हे शहर स्वर्गंगेतल्या नक्षत्रासारखं अस्ताव्यस्त पसरलेलं जाणवतं पहिल्यांदाच. निरागस आणि नैसर्गिक चांदण्यात ऋतून बसतात गच्च आणि दाटीवाटीनं दिवसा सतावणाऱ्या हिंस्त्र नरभक्षक इमारती सताड पडून राहतात ओसाड सडक सांगाडे. सावल्या जिवंत होऊन हलू लागतात सलगीनं. आदिम काचेतून गाळल्यासारखा सगळा काळोख नितळ होऊन वितळतो गूढतेत भीतीशिवाय. नंतर शहर होतं फटाक्कन आलेल्या दिव्यांनी कासावीस. नंतर रात्रभर तडफडत राहते संदर्भाशिवायच काळाच्या गाळात गळाभर ऋतून बसलेली संवेदना. The English translation of this poem is by Dilip Chavan. Suddenly at midnight. Suddenly at midnight, for the first time, this city appears like a constellation spread disorderly in the sky. The violent man-eater buildings that torture in the daylight sink clumsily into the innocent and natural moonlight. The skeletons of roads lie open desolately. Shadows begin to move intimately. Darkness melts down completely in the mystery without any fear with all its purity. As if filtered through the primitive glass, then the abrupt supply of electricity agonizes the city. Then the sensibility sunk up to the neck in the mud of time, enigmatically writhes with pain for the whole night. The second poem is for Adil Mansoori, a well-known Gujarati and Urdu poet and painter. The translation is by Vishnu Khare. Adilji, where are you? Are you well? Your heart dancing on many-hued waves, your mind jostling with words, and your bold protest. Is your world as unbroken as it is used to be? How easily you bade farewell to your city and went away to a deceitful world beyond the seven seas. A Sufi poet likewise arrived in your city from my village and made his peace with the Almighty nearly 3 centuries ago. Adilji, I am talking about Walid Akhni, whose grave has been razed to dust by devils in the armor of power. You know that, don't you? Do you still hold a brush in your hand? Do fond words fluttering their mystic wings still descend on your canvas? Does your conscience still darken with sad ghazals? Or, abandoning all deep memories on the shores of the Arab Sea, have you got lost in a heaven where all messengers of God turn into strange passengers? The next poem is In the Night of Curfew, translated by Dilip Chavan. O innocent branches, roads have become widows this night and have driven away sounds out of limits. A little terror is struck in the pure air you are looking for, and there is the smell of operation. Tomorrow, when the sun will rise, in the newspaper, the corpse of peace will be enclosed in every word, and a few white doves of peace will be flying gracefully throughout the city. White is such a color that hides all other colors in it, especially the one whose splashes have not yet tried on roads or in minds. O innocent branches, the crows which will perch on you tomorrow morning, believe them more than the doves. They are all living with the deep color of protest all over their bodies. Protest is a fear to the death of fear. The protest is a preface to the death of fear. The next poem is Khajuraho. The translation is by Chandrasekhar Jagirdar. The erotic couple of the Vishwanath temple at Khajuraho stands awkwardly. The woman who had stood there from the Middle Ages, clasping the meal, suddenly threw him off and stood erect, like a soldier in an army march past. The meal, smiling, complacent for ages, is suddenly confounded, crestfallen. The woman has become arrogantly triumphant, like the 21st century. What is the woman up to? But God asked her for all this bother and fuss. Why does she think of this sinister act? Dismantled, in despair, the erotic male has lost his confidence. His emotional defenses have collapsed. Completely out of order is the male. Whatever has happened to the woman? Has she started ogling at the man on the next panel, or has she finally understood the male cunning of love? Or is the woman trying to relate the meaning of Kama to Artha? To relate to one another, Artha in Purushartha, Dharma in Sharira Dharma, Moksha in Kama, hardly befits this woman. After all, isn't there something like civilization and culture? The woman in the Khajuraho erotic sculpture has put the male in a fitful fix. Now, gradually, the infection will spread all over the temple. The woman is thinking of leaving Khajuraho for the city. The next poem is Mahatma. It is a third poem in the series and is translated by Pradeep Gopal Deshpande. Like a migratory bird, I have come to this country unknown to me, and amazed I am standing before the closed gate of a bungalow surrounded by trees. It was this very house from where you had launched the struggle for justice about 125 years ago. It was here that you saw the dreams of changing the world of racial discrimination. Dreams of the revolt lay dormant until then in the minds of the helpless masses, suppressed beneath the burden of history. It was here that the unique seed of non-cooperation had sprouted in your soul, and with time the seed had grown into a colossal tree. Bapu, I am standing here before your residence in Johannesburg, where once upon a time your footsteps were imprinted with self-confidence. The wind here has brought to me the mysterious scent of history. and the wondrous past is drifting slowly before my eyes. I am sitting here unraveling the enigmatic theorem. Whence must have come into your frail body the moral strength of such fierce resistance in this alien land? You were not a prophet, nor were you a Nabi, a saint, or a Bhadant. You were a sheer, transparent, honest human being. In your nature was the Advaita of emotions and intellect. The shadow of your compassion had sheltered the entire mankind. For you, love was truth. Truth was God, and a multi-religious country the dwelling of God. Power without truth, community without equality, and a leader without morality were never acceptable to you. Bapu, sitting before the statue of the Black Iron Man, who was inspired by your life, I wanted to write a glowing poem of the salvation of the humankind. But in this independent republic nation, my pen, wallet, watch, mobile, all has been looted in a non-violent way by a few jobless youths prowling around the tall booth. And I am utterly confused, and I am asking myself, where am I? Am I sure I am not in my own country? And